Make a habit of empathy, to recognize ourselves in each other.
I think now in this day and age that we're living in, there's, I think we're all focused on the wrong things. I mean, I'm guilty of that too. And I think that there is always an excuse that's being looked for from all different sides of every issue. And instead of just, I don't know, maybe doing your own part and trying to resolve, come together, just put everything aside just for even a day or two, your differences, and talk things out like human beings really should. And forget this thing with the race, and forget this thing about class and castes, because you see that in different cultures as well. And oh, well, too bad if he wasn't born into that family or into that gene pool. That's his problem, or that's her problem. And I think that there has got to be a refocus on a huge level of humanitarianism. But I do feel for Johannes Mehserle, he was doing his job. He was where he was supposed to be. But my question always is, and has been, was this young man, Oscar Grant, really supposed to be where he was that night? Instead of maybe being at home with the family on a New Year's night where things are so crazy. This is why I don't go out on New Year's anymore. You know, I think young people also, though, tend to live without fear. They're fearless in this generation. But destiny, I think, also maybe can play a little bit in it, or there's some sort of karmic intervention somehow. And unfortunately, a young man, I mean, he was 22 years old, lost his life.
And it was like larger order to all of this.
I think so.
Human, and there is a way that we could all like.
I think so, and
together.
Exactly.
There's a reward.
Exactly, and unfortunately, I mean, Johannes Mehserle, I think, will have a punishment, whether that's a spiritual punishment or a karmic punishment. I think that he's probably going through that each and every day, because I think as human beings, if you accidentally killed someone or you really committed awful bodily harm to somebody and it has affected the rest of their life, I can almost probably say positively that he has not forgotten that night and thinks about that every day, and he has to live with that.
As a human being, he's having an experience that all humans would have in that.
Exactly. And unfortunately, I think that certain people, whether they're black or brown or purple or green or yellow, it's all about our choices. And if you choose to live a life by violence or by the sword, I guess the old saying is, you live and die by the sword. I mean, if you're on that path.
Is this something about responsibility? Maybe responsibility for choices about where you're going to be on New Year's Eve and how you live your life and that kind of stuff?
Because I think responsibility, I think, also ties into your choices. So those choices that you make, you've got to live with, and the consequences. Or you live with the great rewards of making really good choices, like staying in school, just being a good person, and getting on a path of living a good life. It doesn't have to be full of wealth and all that kind of stuff, but be law-abiding. Do something for your community. Definitely, responsibility and choices go hand in hand.
I'm curious how that connects with empathy. Like, how would you
I think because if you have the choice to help someone, to support someone, and you have that empathy and that inside of you, it comes from within, I really think. You're a conscious individual. And to display that empathy, you know, or sometimes it is sympathy, but that feeling, and that comes from within. You have to search yourself. Absolutely.
See the world through other people's eyes. Now, empathy is a quality of character that can change the world.